If we were to take a look at the core teachings of all of the Chaos Gods, in other words, what their emotional embodiment is, there is only one god in my opinion worth following, Grandfather Nurgle. I want you to think about the lowest moment in your life and try to understand that for most of us, growing comfortable with this low point and the slow process of crawling ourselves out is the most liberating feeling ever, and this strange sludge through the decay of life is what Nurgle represents. In order to go deeper into this thought, we're going to talk about why you should worship the Chaos God Nurgle, and I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about Grandfather Nurgle. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I try to do is I create a video with a lore portion in the beginning, a hobby portion if I can in the middle, and then a Q&A portion where I answer the questions that you guys left off in the previous video. So if you guys have any questions or suggestions, comment down below and I'll respond to them tomorrow. But with all that said, let's get into 40 facts on why you should worship Nurgle. Life within the Imperium of Man, or for that matter anywhere else in the unfeeling galaxy, is harsh, miserable, and full of pain and suffering. Service to an uncaring god, or the eldritch and absent cosmic deities, is ultimately empty and devoid of any meaning. Men live and die. And for what? For others to stand in their graves and preach the same nonsense. Or is the reward in that? However, for those who accept the boundless gifts of the Father of Plagues, everlasting hope is the ultimate reward. Decay is unavoidable. Bolters rust, the shells they fire are spent, and the fingers that pull their triggers wear down with the passing of time. Over the course of their lives, mortals sustain injuries, become infected, sicken, and succumb to their wounds, or simply succumb to age. It is impossible to escape deterioration, and yet people try. And the struggle to forestall decay moves people to action. It motivates them for greatness, it gives them hope that better times lie ahead, and that endless possibilities are available in a universe that seemingly knows only certain and crushing doom. And it is the Plague Lord who embodies this. He brings light to darkness. It is Nurgle that gives weak mortals the strength to resist the lies of the galaxy. It is the embracing Grandfather Nurgle who encourages his followers to defy the doom of mortal corruption and instead use it as a source of strength and inspiration. In the market squares of backward planets and in the dome-filled cathedrals of the chapters of the Adeptus Ministorum, preachers spew their lies upon the unsuspecting and dim-witted flock. They warn against the corruption of the soul and the filth of the spirit. They tell their listeners that to turn from their faith is to join the ranks of the lost and the damned. And yet salvation and deliverance is given to the followers of Nurgle. Nurgle's gifts are oddly harmonious, even caring. And to receive the blessings of Nurgle, all one has to do is want to live and be willing to do whatever it takes to cling to life. All else follows naturally from there. And all that is required to feel the caring touch of Nurgle is to see life for what it is and want to make the most of it. And his gifts, regardless of what form they take, open eyes even as they liquefy them. It simultaneously atrophies the leg muscles of its recipients and then gives them the strength to march towards a greater purpose. It is Nurgle's great ambition to speed this universe towards its end by eroding the foundations of reality, much as a disease can erode the spirit and bodies of those infected. Through his careful and ceaseless experimentations begun within his wondrous garden and then unleashed throughout the galaxy, the pillars that support the framework of existence are slowly but surely weakening. There will come a time when they collapse entirely and the universe will begin a massive transformation. The old ways will be swept aside like a troublesome fly. All that was will cease to be, and from the rotten ruins a new and glorious reality will emerge, one ruled over by Nurgle and his beloved and everlasting children. Those who walk with Nurgle and aid him in bringing about the great corruption, as Nurgle calls it, do so with joy in their heart. They know that Nurgle's victory is assured, and that when all things come to an end, life will begin anew. They will have helped make it so, and they will have a spot in his great kingdom. And with that, I hope you guys are now worshippers of the Chaos God Nurgle, Grandfather Nurgle. Whenever I read the lore of Nurgle, he instantly becomes my favorite, as is the case with most things. Whenever I read the lore, I get all excited and stuff like that. But he is always like legit, like either 2 or 1 in my top 4 of the 4 Chaos Gods, even though there's only 4. But it's between him and Tzeentch. About a year ago, I watched an episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and it was talking about religious organizations within the U.S. and how easy it is to create a religious organization or a church. All you need is a theology or a doctrine. You need a group of people, and then you need a location or a platform. And I was like, in his show, he creates his own religion or church based on his show, and I was like, oh, it would be awesome to do that for this channel. And I even went as far as like trying to write out different like scenarios where like we can meet up every single Sunday. Well, it's not meet up, but like I can produce a video that goes out every Sunday for the community, the 40K community, but specifically geared towards the 4 Chaos Gods. And what we would do is we would take a look at the emotion that God embodies. So, for example, with Khorne, it would be aggression. And we would dive deep into the lore of Khorne to find the aggressive moments, or those moments where aggression really played a pivotal role in whatever story. Connect that to our real world life, either through like other stories like in the Quran or the Bible, or like any other type of like moral driven story, which is all of them really, but like connecting that through that, and then using the embodiment of Khorne to explain or to worship and understand this emotion of rage or wrath or whatever you want to call it. And it could be like, how could we use rage to better our lives, not just as wargamers, but just in general. So in a way, using the lore and the hobby to explore our emotions and explore our moral compass, and how we could use that certain emotion to better our lives and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, there's usually 4 or 5 Sundays in every month, so it could be like one for each Chaos God, and then if we have a 5th Sunday, we would just do Chaos Undivided, and we can do something cool. That's still on the table. I might do that in the future if I have some time to write, which I should have in the following week, but it is just an idea that always pops into my head whenever I read lore on the worship of these Chaos Gods. And no, I do not want to do a worship day on the God Emperor. Nobody needs to worship a single individual that does nothing, aka Jesus. So yeah, but we'll see what happens in the future if I actually do put out some type of video for that. Comment down below if you guys would be interested. Now let's get into the Q&A portion of the video. So I am answering the comments that you guys left in the 40 Facts and Lore on the Forge World of Metallica. This went up yesterday. If you guys have questions for me or any suggestions that you guys would like to see me respond to in tomorrow's video, just comment down in the comment section below. I'm gonna try my best to answer all of these, but let's see. First one comes from Daniel Orman. Can other Space Marines grow facial hair, or is it only part of the Space Wolf's gene seed? I really enjoy your videos, and they add so much to my painting experience. Also, for the Greater Wall videos, have a great vibe between you and the Sound Alchemist. Keep it up, lads. Thank you. To answer your question, yes, Space Marines can grow hair. Most of them can like facial hair and stuff like that. There is, I think the Raven Guard are the only ones that might have trouble with that. Their gene seed has a mutation that not only gives them pale skin, gauntlet looking, like they have a gauntlet looking appearance, so like thin hair and stuff like that. But I think that thinning hair is also like probably cuts back on the beard and the facial hair. But I'm not 100% sure if that is like concrete. You could just say a successor chapter doesn't have that. Like if you're building some stuff and there's supposed to be successor chapters of the Raven Guard, or they are Raven Guard, and you like the miniatures with the beard on them, just use it. But yeah. And then next question. This next question comes from MPC123. Gilliman will eventually reach the Tau Empire at some point during the Indomitus Crusade. What do you think he'll do? I'm going to think a possible alliance/overthrow of the government and incorporation of the Tau into the Imperium, possibly. I bet you, because in yesterday's video I said that the next big story that's going to happen is probably going to involve the Tau Empire, because I feel like GW is pushing towards that. Where they're just trying to highlight the Tau Empire a little bit more than other races. Every single faction has had that. Right now we're going through the Orcs. The Orcs are having this like revamp of like stories and stuff like that now with the Beast Nagas and stuff. But for the Tau Empire storyline, I do believe that Gilliman, if he does meet the Tau Empire, he's probably going to meet the Farsight Enclaves, because the Farsight Enclaves seem to be a little bit more popular in terms of like the story that they tell, or that it tells. And Gilliman and Farsight would somehow probably fight alongside one another, be forced to become, allies, and there would be an agreement of like, you do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. Don't interfere, and then we can just try to exist in the same segmentum until I decide to kill you. On both sides, I think Gilliman's gonna say the same thing, and then Farsight is gonna say the same thing, and ultimately, I think their bond will be this like, not hatred, but this like. Burden of having a huge organization behind them trying to tell them what to do. So Farsight obviously broke away from the Tau Empire and the Ethereal Caste, and that glooming Ethereal Caste is what's going to make Farsight have that basically that weight to carry behind him. And Gilliman has the Imperial Creed, and on multiple portions of the lore, we have learned that Gilliman is just fed up with like the Imperial Creed and like the whole bureaucratic side of the ecclesiarchy, and them poking their fingers saying like, what are you doing to like Gilliman. Gilliman is putting up with that right now, so it's kind of like they're gonna see eye to eye in terms of like, or they're going to understand each other because they're going through a similar thing, and then ultimately they're going to probably fight some type of villain, probably Necrons, with the Pariah Nexus and all that kind of stuff. Because is it the Pariah Nexus? Yeah, because the Necrons are also in the Western Front. No, the Eastern. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't really know what's going to happen with. I don't think like the Tau Empire would ever ally with Gilliman like the Ethereals would. I don't think that would happen. But yeah. Next question comes from August Anderson. Here for the Greater Wog. Which other Loyalist primarks do you think should come back now, and why? Keep up the great work. The good work. Thank you, man. And yes, the Greater Wogs are still going on. These are just in addition to the regular 40 Facts videos. And then the next Loyalist Primarch to come back, I really don't know. Everybody was saying the Lion, but that went away. Everybody's saying Sanguinius now, I feel, but I don't think Sanguinius is going to come back. So, yeah, I really don't know. I wish. Obviously, I'm an Imperial Guard, or I'm an Imperial Guard or Imperial Fist player, so I want Rogaldorn to come back. But the stories for Rogaldorn will be very bland, almost Gilliman-like. So he's probably not going to come back. Yeah, the Lion and Sanguinius seem to be like the Primarchs that have the most independence, I guess. That and Leman Russ, because of the Space Wolves. But we'll see. I'm not too sure. Next question comes from. This one comes from Jeremy Kunayak. Would love to hear the lore of the Forge World Megadeth and their rivalry of Metallica. Also the Chaos Forge World of Anthrax and Slayer. Yes, that would be awesome. It is funny that like Metallica, it's just like that's the Forge World name, and like instantly when you hear Metallica, you only think of the band. At least I do. I never think of anything other than the band, not even the Forge World. But yeah. Next question comes from Alex Dar. I became a fan of 40K through the RTS Dawn of War series video games. What percentage of fans are like me? I have no interest in painting models. Does that make me a heretic? So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people started playing 40K or became fans of the 40K universe because of Dawn of War. Dawn of War was a really good game when it first came out. Like I remember running from the bus to the house because I knew it was Friday and I was going to get to play Dawn of War. So it was like a big like happy place for me during that time when I couldn't play 40K on the tabletop with my friends. So we would get online and actually play online and stuff like that. And that's actually what drew us back into 40K. So I understand what your love, or why you love the 40K universe through the game. Now, just because you're not interested in painting models doesn't make you a heretic. I know a lot of our friends, well, some of our friends don't paint their own models. They actually just buy the like studio painted miniatures and stuff, which is completely fine. Just a little sad, just because you're supposed to put your blood, sweat, and tears into these miniatures. So the painting process is one of those frustrating things that you have to do for your army. If you want to be a true 40K hobbyist, but that's obviously not true. So no, you're not a heretic. I'm just judging you a little bit, but who cares? The next question comes from... This is from Eric Cartman. What is the latest on Sanguinius being dead? I know about some designer during Q&A saying that he's in stasis and in a bad way, but later Guy Haley, who wrote Dante and the Devastation of Bao, is quoted in an interview question about the topic as saying that Sanguinius is dead. Has GW ever clarified? I don't think it's up to GW. I think it's up to the people writing the Horus Heresy novels and how much creative freedom they get. And obviously, if one writer says that Sanguinius is in stasis and another writer says that Sanguinius is dead, they could always just like retcon and change their mind. It's happened before. So far, as far as I know, Sanguinius is dead. But that could change tomorrow. Like, if a new book comes out on the Blood Angels and a little, like, tidbit is said about, like, Sanguinius in his throne room, or, like, Sanguinius, like, they hear him moving or something like that, then boom. Like, all of a sudden, Sanguinius is back to life. Does it take away from the fact that Horus and Sanguinius fought during the Great Crusade and Horus, his best friend, killed him? Yes, of course that would take away from that entire story, but... That's life in the 40K lore universe, I guess, right? Next question comes from Mike Roffle. What happens with a saint's body like Celestine when she dies? I want to make a traitor knight with her dead body strung on it, but it disappears if not gone. But if it disappears, if not gone, work, and her bodyguards hang from it. You could do that. Like, you could definitely do that because there's a lot of demons that also are similar. Where, like, the Grey Knights, if you look at the Grey Knights, they're usually holding, like, the carcasses of, like, demons and stuff like that. And when you kill a demon, it's supposed to go back into the immaterium, but it's the etheric side of the demon. So, let's say I was worshiping Khorne, as we were talking about in the beginning of this little Q&A portion, and then I allow him to, like... give me his gifts of becoming a demon, and then I start turning into a what are they called, bloodletter or whatever. I'm gonna start to grow horns and all those and that kind of stuff. That stuff is real. Like, my body, my skull, which is in the material universe, is going to develop a horn. When I die, the etheric powers might go away, but my skull is still demonic and mutated. So in that way, I think Saint Celestine, her conduit, her, what is it called? Like, whatever sacrificial body she used to take up, like, existence is still going to be there. And that is the trophy hanging on your Traitor Knight's, body and stuff like that. So yeah, you could definitely do that. Either that, or when Saint Celestine dies, she usually just kneels down and disappears, kind of like all of the Jedi in Battlefront. Whenever they would, like, die, they just kneel down. They don't actually die. But that's up to you. You could definitely use some type of carcass and say this is Saint Celestine. That's what makes it cool. And we're going actually longer than normal, so I'm going to end it there. If you guys have more questions for me, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.